What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back with another video. Bit of post Villa game thoughts, but also just some questions that I've got from your comments in the videos left in the comment box. You know, you guys have been asking me questions, so in return, I want to ask you your thoughts because obviously the 0-0 draw against Villa wasn't ideal given the circumstances. A point was a good point, but the drop points overall in season do add up. So I do want to get your thoughts on what we can do differently under Jesse Marsch with this current team. No point talking about signings. We can't get a shiny new striker. We can't get a shiny new midfielder. We got to go with what we've got. So I'm interested to hear that. Obviously, as you come in, please hit the like on the video. Please do that for me. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. And also as well, just to give a shout out as well to Mr. P and Karen Curtin, super thanks donators on the last video, big supporters of the channel. Thank you yet again. And I've also got to give a shout out to Mitch, who was recently in an accident. And he's in hospital at the moment in Germany without any family there. He's in a coma for 2 weeks and he's just learning to walk again. Apparently he's a viewer of the channel, a friend of Deshawn's. So thank you, and I hope your recovery goes well. Yes, hello, Amelia. Nice to see you in the building. Vic, evening, Vic. Hope you're well. Your guy's going to get a couple of questions today because it was asked in the comments, and I've got to address it today, Vic. So we'll get ready for that. But listen, the main points here is that we've got a couple of things to talk about. Well, I've got a couple of things to talk about. Listen, the game yesterday was a dire game. You know, 35 fouls in the game. In a 0-0 draw, it tells you just how bad the game was. But it also says as well, in regards to what Jesse's talking about, and let's start with Jesse versus the refs, in that he's still going at them. In his post-game discussion, he was still talking about the referees. He wants to have a conversation, which yesterday I said, please don't do it. And if you haven't seen the match reaction, please go back and watch that one too. But it seems like he's going to be talking to him again. And you know, when you look at the fouls that we were making, they weren't the smartest fouls. They were very niggly fouls. But we was also told that these kind of fouls weren't going to be given through the season, but they always start that way. And then referees revert back to type. They were told that last season as well. But that's where we are with referees. Again, once again, they're not robots, they're human beings. And unfortunately, the little fouls are coming back again. I've seen it not just in our game, but in other games where these little trips that they were not penalizing at the start of the season, they're starting to just roll back in there and start to blow the whistle up again. So you have to work with it. Is it annoying? Is it frustrating? It definitely is. But Jesse now has to find a way to not antagonize the refs further and set up in a way that we're the dominant team at home. Because listen, somebody left a comment yesterday as well saying, I don't understand why teams are setting up like that against us. And I did reply. I said, I don't get it either, because we're not exactly Man City. You know, we're not that dangerous. We're just a middle of the road Premier League team. But yes, it is a tactic so far this season where Villa, Wolves, Everton, they've all come to set up and look like they're trying to play for a point or a 1-0 win. Why? I don't know. But then this is now on Jesse now to figure out with the coaching staff, with the team, how to deploy different tactics in those games and not really focus so much on the refs. Because listening back to Jesse Marsch's post-game comments yesterday, I did like some of the things he said, but there was a lot of talk about the referees. And you always have to be careful when you're going into that territory, especially in this country. Fear Dirt KG, yeah, beautiful album. One of my favorite albums of all time. 9's just saying in regards, hey KG, big up to you. Refs seem to be aware of our tactics and aggressive play, so maybe they're trying to stamp us down. I just think yesterday it wasn't like we was making any like dark arts tackles or fouls that were really important. They were just niggly, silly fouls, and they're going to be given, especially with the way the referee was yesterday. They were always going to be given. So it's up to us to be a bit smarter. That's where smarts come into it, and you adjust your tactics and just your thinking in that game. You have to do it that way. Jamie Miller, in regards to tactics, he would say run 2 strikers up front instead of 1. I'm with that. That way you double your options, Bamford and Nanto. Yeah, I mean, we've got various options, haven't we? If Bamford, again, we're having to wrap him up in cotton wool, which is unfortunate. But yeah, Nanto, Perkins, you know, there are some options there. And Gelhardt, I mean, we'll talk about Gelhardt in this as well, because that has to be discussed. That we're going to probably see Joe Gelhardt playing in a Papa John's trophy game. I would have expected that last season, possibly last season, that we're going to see Joe Gelhardt possibly play in the Papa John's trophy. I thought those days were done, but listen, Jesse said don't take it as a storyline or anything like that. He trusts Joe Gelhardt, but it's hard not to when you've got him who did so in the little time he was given in the Prem last season. He did so much for us. Let's not forget that. And now he possibly could be playing in the Papa John's. Ooh, I don't know. What does everyone think of that? Sacco say Marsch is moving like Klopp. Every day he complains. And yeah, listen, I'm a big critic of Klopp when it comes to that. You always see with Jurgen Klopp, whenever he doesn't win, he's always got an excuse. He's always a mopey guy, and that's what happens with winners. I get it, but I would be a hypocrite if I didn't call out Jesse Marsch for doing the same. And yes, we all know, everyone knows referees are bad, but it's up to you to counter that. It's up to you as a coach to figure it out and try and take the heat off that, because at the moment the refs they're looking at Jesse Marsch. You know, look at it as human beings. They're looking at him. Everything that he's going to be doing now is going to be under the microscope. So he has to move a bit smarter. Not saying stop getting in the ref's ear. There's ways of doing it. Like I said yesterday, Ashley Young yesterday was in the ref's ear, being a leader on the pitch, but he wasn't doing it in an aggressive manner. Unfortunately, Rodrigo, Mark Rucker, and all the guys that decided to go up to the ref were kind of in his face, like really bad. So they were always going to be in trouble. And that's another thing as well. And somebody said about Liam Cooper yesterday in a comment, and I couldn't agree more. Where was the leadership? But guys, I don't go on about Liam Cooper anymore because I'm sick of talking about it. I let everybody who gives him his invisible attributes while he's out just keep talking. But he wasn't doing anything yesterday in terms of leadership on the pitch. Again, it was Rodrigo who was leading more in the ref's ear and everything else like that. Llorente previously, I know he's got his faults, but he's been more of a leader. He's been one that goes up to refs and talks to him. I didn't see Liam Cooper. Where I saw Ashley Young talking to the ref with his hands behind his back and getting in the ref's ear, I didn't see Cooper anywhere to be seen. But you guys keep telling me, and I just keep going. You guys keep telling me that he's got leadership attributes on the pitch. I didn't see him. But listen, I'm going to give him the same kind of rope I'd give anyone, and that it was his first game back in a very long time. But I just, for the people that are new to this channel, I just don't think he's a Premier League player. It's not that I don't think. I can see he's not a Premier League player. That's my opinion. I think he'd be very lucky to be a Championship player. I just don't think he's got it in him. But he's going to get put in, and that's another thing as well in regards to tactics. And this is all rolling into one, and this is why there's so much to talk about, because we've shoehorned Liam Cooper back in. But why? Why have we done that? Why didn't we start Firpo, move Strauch into the middle next to Koch and put Rasmus there? Why are we not putting our best players out first rather than the sentimental ones? And listen, I can't not say it because I accuse Bielsa of doing it, being sentimental. I just feel that there's a bit of sentimentality there going there as well, because he shouldn't be starting. And again, this is why I hate talking about Liam Cooper, because it's nothing against him, man. I appreciate what he's done for the club in previous years, but we cannot be starting Liam Cooper in 2022 and expect him to be better than what we want to be. We want to get to the next level. And if you are, even Liam Cooper fans, if you ask yourself within your hearts, is he going to get us to the next level? He isn't. But yeah, we just get this super chat. Josh Fireman, thank you for your support. Jesse is too fixated on refs generally, but he's 100% correct this time about time wasting. It's intolerable and kills the game. Prem has to address this. And this is what he's talking about, Josh, and thank you. It is true. We saw that, didn't we? In the first couple of weeks, the referees were getting the game moved along and everything else like that, time wasting. It's like when the teachers are there and they're, the Ofcom have come in, or Ofsted have come in, and they're looking over the teachers. All of a sudden, your teachers are moving mad. But then Ofsted goes away, and they go back to normal again. And that's what's happened to refs, because they weren't doing nothing in regards to time wasting, not just in our game, but in other games too. Voice of the villains in here, Villa fan. He didn't say nothing because you knew your players were moving dirty. We weren't moving that dirty. We weren't that dirty. It wasn't that bad. Um, it was. He was a bad ref. It was a bad ref. Aiden, hi KJ, I like your channel. Thank you so much, Aiden. Paul Davis, I think Cooper has won money in the bank from the championship days and cashes it in every time he returns from injury. He passed Jesse the briefcase. That's tremendous. I love that. I'm ready, cash it in. I'm ready. But again, like I say, I just don't want to. I'm not horrible about any players. I just know what I know in the Premier League will work and what will get you to the next level. And guys like this are just not going to do it. Metro saying KJ would never get into the next level until Radrizzani moves on. Interesting. Tasha saying, KJ, can you imagine what City and Haaland would do with our defense? Personally, at the minute, I would just give them 3 points and save the cricket score. Yeah, it's going to be mad. Yeah, I'm not like it. Yeah, Haaland's going to move absolutely frightening. It's going to be mad. Sacco, Wilson is there and missed the Arsenal game. No, he's not going to miss it. He's just going to miss the Palace game and he's back for Arsenal. Am I wrong in saying he's your only attacking threat? You are wrong. He's not our only attacking threat, but he's our main X factor. He's the one that can do something out of nothing. So we definitely need him back. And that's another thing as well in regards. So yeah, let's go on to that tactics. We're obviously not going to see Gelhardt in I don't know when, but that's what I'm talking about as well in regards to Cooper. It's not just Cooper. We need to set up with a bit more fluidity at home, especially away. I can just about understand because you are the away team and you're trying to get a point on the road at best. Try and nick 3 points if you can. But at home, you've got to have the impetus to do that. And by setting up with somebody who's not a natural left back, and once again, Pascal, that's my guy. I want him in the central midfield, central of defense, and then put Firpo out there. It has to be Firpo. He's our only other left back option unless it's Yoda. But again, Yoda's not a natural left back. So let's make it easier for ourselves. Let's make it easy for ourselves. And I know a lot of people going, what? Make it easy by putting Firpo on the pitch. I get it. But this is what we've got. This is it now, people. I don't want to hear nothing about who we should sign. We've got to talk about from the players, the pool of players that we've got right now. So we've got to start Firpo as a more natural left back, as a more natural left back outlet. I think that's just the way forward. Strout, Koch, and Rasmus Christensen. And again, I watched the highlights back as well. I don't know why, but I watched the highlights back, and there was quite a few times where Rasmus was over on the right. He was screaming for the ball, and Jack or Brendan Aronson, I gotta say it as well. They didn't look up and they didn't look and see that he was free on the right hand side and just tried to bulldoze through 2-3 players and lost possession. So that is something that they need to do as well. Just be more careful with the ball. Just be more patient and wait for the right time. But Rasmus was free a couple of times getting forward, and that's something that I've criticized him about, not getting forward like I've seen him for Denmark and previously Salzburg. So there are opportunities to get wide and make something happen. Gail, I know a lot of people say that, but there's nothing else we can do, Gail. They didn't invest in a left back, so we have to talk about with what we've got. Igor, or is it Igor? It's Igor, isn't it? I agree. Strauch has done a fine job, but it's not his position. He's done an amazing job defensively. I think he's done brilliantly, but he's not a natural left back. So you saw many times yesterday, as you saw him throughout the season, when it gets to that wide spot, he doesn't just whip it in because he can't. The few balls he did put in, they were in the air for about 10 seconds. They were just hanging in the air. You know, it's not his fault. But then when you couple it as well, then with Strout next to Cooper, that's way too pedestrian for me. Way too pedestrian in the Premier League. Dale saying Rodrigo missed a couple of sitters. He had a good chance, but again, this is what we know we're going to get from Rodrigo. That's what's going to happen when he starts up front. You know, that start of the season was amazing. It was brilliant. It was really good to see. But that's not Rodrigo. We've seen what Rodrigo is, and you have to go with that. You're going to have to get that 1 week hot, 1 week cold, or maybe a couple weeks cold sometimes. So, yeah, that is Rodrigo in a nutshell. Matthew saying a bit more discipline and patience, and we will have a really great team. And that's another thing as well. Yeah, patience, just some patience in the build-up would be good, but discipline, we have to get that back. And unfortunately, that does start with Jesse. And at the moment, with him keep on talking about the refs, going back to that, it's kind of giving us the players a couple of excuses here, just to make it look like we're being hard done by. When in reality, yes, the ref was bad, but you've got to counter that with your smarts. And at the moment, I think Jesse just might have to lay off it a little bit before he finds himself banned again. You know what I mean? It goes both ways. It starts from Jesse Marsch. He's got to lead the line on this. He's got to now tell the players, listen, I only want my captain. I only want you going up to the ref, not 3 or 4 of you, because they're just going to book us anyway. We can't get away with it like other teams. We can't. We don't have that kind of pull. We just don't. So we have to be smarter with it. I'm not saying stop it. I want them to keep approaching the ref like Ashley Young yesterday, but you've got to just be smarter with it. Allison saying Furpo suits a 5 at the back. We look better when we reverted to this after the sending off. Yeah, 5 at the back for me as well is a way that we could go. Maybe not so much at home against teams like Villa, but yeah, 5 at the back. I think with our defensive situation and not knowing really what our best central defensive partnership is, why not go 3 at the back? I don't know. Why not go 3 at the back sometimes? It might be a shout, especially in tougher games. But yeah, he did. I thought he did all right when he came on for Po. I thought he did pretty well. He made a really good tackle as well towards the end. But we need to see it in from the start, 90 minutes. We need to see that consistently, and he needs to be available. That's the main thing. Metro saying, well said, KG. March acts like a madman on the touchline most of the time. Yeah. No, the thing is, I do like that. I do like it, but the problem is he's got a marked card, so he has to be careful. Much like when King Jose Mourinho, man, fair play to that king. What a legend. Have you seen him lately? Oh, just follow his Instagram, man. The guy's just hilarious. But he went through that point where he kept complaining about this and that, and then he kept on getting fined and everything else. That's where that "if I could speak" came from. That's where it all stemmed from. It stemmed from him keep on complaining about refs. And he said, if I speak, I'll be in big trouble. That's where Jesse's heading, unfortunately. Dow is saying 3 at the back is a great idea. Frees up the fullbacks and see him to push up and overwhelm opponents. Yeah, and that's it as well. We need to give our fullbacks a bit more protection, but also give our 2 central midfielders a bit of a break, because at the minute, I mean, Tyler Adams, I mean, it's fan voted, I know, but he got the player of the match for us yesterday via Boost Drinks. And it's for me, that's what I said online before it was announced. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. Yet again, him and Mark Rucker, they're doing so much, but that's the problem when you've got a mishmash of really good quality on the ball, mixed with some players that are out of position, mixed with some players that are just not good enough, and then some players that are just inconsistent. It's an app. It says mid-table. That's where we are. That's the problem we have. So it's about finding the best solution, and that's up to Jesse Marsch to find. Yeah, Tasha. Yeah, Rodrigo got booked for calling the Villa player to be booked. In the meantime, Villa players urging the ref to give Sin the booking, which got him sent off. It's true. Rodrigo got booked for dissent, and watching the replay back, I do believe that if the referee had remembered that he had booked Sinistera first, I don't think he's booking him for blocking the free kick. I generally don't. I think because the Villa fans remind him, he's like, oh, Villa players remind him, he's like, oh, damn, I'm going to have to send you off. And that's where it was done. And the thing is, he then probably by then remembers the first couple minutes where he didn't even talk to Leon Bailey for kicking the ball away out on our free kick. But hey, you got to live and die by your decision. We'll see if he ends up in the championship next week. Highly unlikely. Stehan, great stuff, KG. Cooper is not Premier League standard, and why we result to type baffles me. Awful game yesterday. 2 poor teams that will be in or close to the drop zone. Yeah, I was reading today, Villa have only got 5 wins in 20. That's disgraceful. It's disgraceful because of the players that they've got. They've got some really, really good players. Like, there's no way a team like that should be having 5 wins in 20. And maybe that's what kind of caps it off as well, with them not being able to take advantage of 10 men for damn near a whole half. Maybe that's it as well. Is Gerard the right guy? We'll see. We'll see. Uh, Elementary saying, honestly, think Tyler Adams is player of the season for us so far. He's really taken the Prem well. Rucker's been great as well. Yeah, it's for me, I can't separate the two because what Tyler Adams does, um, in terms of with the ball, getting the ball back, his recoveries and everything else like that, allows Rucker to just progress with the ball nicely. And he's done that. He's done that really, really well. Yes, it kind of went off the ball yesterday when he lost his head, I know, but they just complement each other so well. Brendan, for me, at the moment, just looking back again on the highlights, probably needs to just look up a little bit more, maybe pass the ball a bit quicker. But I like his endeavor. I like what he's about. I need him to make a few more late runs like he did against Wolves in causing a goal. I think we need some more of that because there was a couple times where we had the ball in good areas and it went across the box. We didn't have that midfielder running in, and he should be that guy. So if he's going to play centrally and not out on the right, we need him to see. We need to see more of that from Brendan. Tom, yeah, who gets sacked after tonight's game, Rodgers or Cooper? Mm, maybe both. No, I think it's Brendan Rodgers, but I think it's to do with compensation. I don't know if Leicester want to pay him the money that he's owed. That's why he's just chilling. He's just saying, "Listen, I'm waiting for you to sack me. I don't care." He's just waiting to be sacked. So I'm not really sure. But speaking of sackings, though, and I was going to mention this at the end, but seeing as you've mentioned sackings, I don't know if everyone's heard, but Chris Wilder got sacked from Middlesbrough, who are in the bottom three of the champ. That just shows you how quickly things can change in football and why some people take the opportunities when they can. Because one year you're talked about as the toast of the Prem, you're linked with Prem jobs, big Prem jobs. Next minute you're at Middlesbrough struggling and you're sacked. That's what happens. That's what can happen. And that's why some managers and players move when they do, because if they leave it another year, they might not be as hot as they are right now. Speaking another one from Sheffield United, John Egan was wanted by Spurs. That's factual as well. He's still in the champ with Sheffield United. It's amazing. That's why I don't begrudge players and managers of moving on when there's a better opportunity, because they don't know when they're going to get that again. So just funny, isn't it? With Chris Wilder, he had all that stuck in the bank, the overlapping center half. Now he's unemployed, man. He's unemployed, and the thing is, once you get sacked from a championship job in with a guy like Chris Wilder, he either gets another championship job or he's going to get an upper tier League One job. And what a drop that is in just a short space of time. Yeah, man. Yes. It's good to see people in here. I mean, obviously, I did this one on a whim. I did have it set up pretty much all day. I knew I wanted to talk to you guys today and just get your thoughts on things. And if it's not in the live chat now, please leave them in the comments after. And even if you left them in the live chat, leave them in the comments after. It's all good. Tim here is saying, I think Ayling should start and bring on Rasmus at 60 minutes so that he builds up his confidence in that position. Oh, Tim. I mean, who else agrees that Luke Ayling should start? For me personally, I don't want to see Luke Ayling start. Listen, Luke Ayling yesterday, once again, watching the highlights, Ashley Young got by Luke Ayling a few times. Ashley Young, he's 37 now. He's just not the answer for me. He's going to be good as a sub, or not good, but he's going to be an option as a sub. I actually would put Cody Drama ahead of Luke Ayling at this point. I just think we need to get fresher, younger in there. We need to test some of our young players, our young studs, not just any old youngster like we did last season. We need to get them tested and see if they're Premier League ready. We could have some jewels on our hands, and we just don't know it yet because they're not being given the opportunity. Be very, very interesting. Matthew saying Christian was fine. Yeah, I thought he was okay yesterday. I thought he was good. I thought it was his best game so far. That's not really a high bar, by the way. The bar is very, very low for him, but it was his better game. I thought he looked more confident. I just wish he got some of those passes that he was crying out for yesterday, and we could have seen what he could have done. Igor saying Rasmus was better yesterday. Keep starting him, he'll only get better. I agree. Got to build his confidence up. And Gail agreeing as well, saying she thought Rasmus was good. Yeah. So let me just get the docket up for the agenda. Jesse Game post comments. Yep. And just on Gelhardt, just quickly, people. What do people think about this whole thing with Gelhardt being fit, but just out of the squad? Has anyone got any major thoughts on that? I think it's quite big. I actually think now that maybe Perkins has moved ahead of him. I think Perkins has probably got a bit more trust from Jesse Marsch. Very interesting. But it's only a good thing for Leeds United if he sees Perkins as better. But I want to see it on the pitch. I've got to be honest. I want to see Perkins get a chance. I'm going to talk about players like Perkins in a bit as well. Josh is saying Christensen had a great interview during the break, acknowledging that his start was bad. Good to hear. I think he has the mindset to sharpen up. That's what I like. That's what I like. At least he's not trying to say that he thinks he's done okay. I think he comes across as an honest guy anyway. And that's good to know that he said that during the break. And listen, first game back, he did okay. I think he could have done better if he had got the ball when he wanted it. But we'll see in the games coming forward. Tom is saying in regards to Gelhardt, I think Gelhardt is behind Nanto and Perkins. Yeah, Nanto too. Looks like Nanto's ahead of him as well. Jamie Lowe, just in regards to Cooper, just quickly, late to it, but so only just heard Cooper leadership comment and agree, KG. For some reason, some have made out Cooper is a amazing leader, and he isn't. Yeah, I know. I do think that he's a good ambassador off the pitch, Jamie. I think he does brilliant stuff off the pitch, but I got to be honest, I don't business with what goes on off the pitch. I need you to do your job on it. So yeah, be the club captain, but I don't know if you're the captain on the pitch. There's a difference for me. So I hear you. Gail saying, I would like to see Gelhardt with Bam together. Yeah, I think they work well together too, Gail. I think they work together too. But the problem is now, Gelhardt looks like he's probably lost his spot. He's probably lost his spot. So, yeah. Yeah, Deshaun as well saying maybe Nanto got the nod ahead. Yeah, I think Jesse, the way you cannot tell with Jesse as well with his body language and his demeanor in press conference. I think he's very impressed with Perkins and Nanto, and I think they've moved ahead of him. I think they've moved ahead of him. So it's going to be interesting if he lines up in that Papa John's trophy. Wow, I just wonder what that does for him. What that does for him. What it does for his confidence. What it does for him going forward. Does he trust Jesse Marsch? Will he trust him in the future? It's going to be very, very interesting. Let's have a look. Yeah, and of course, anything that I've mentioned so far, leave your comments in the video after the video's done. Yeah, Gail, I love Nanto and Sydney too. I think they're going to be brilliant for us. I do. Okay. Number 9's. I've got that in the title. Number 9's are back. But I hope they are. You guys know me. Yeah, look, Tim, just to show I'm not biased, we did get a clean sheet yesterday with Coops, though. Fair enough. Listen, let me just get a sip. Sport in general is very, very copycat. When something worked for somebody and it's successful, everybody else usually follows suit. Now, with Erling Haaland returning and being an absolute monster, I mean, an absolute killer. And yes, I know there is not a lot of Erling Haalands out there. I know. But are we going to go back to the way of having a good old number 9 that just scores goals and doesn't have to worry about all that ridiculous stuff like pressing? I was watching Roy Keane versus Michael Richards yesterday when they were talking about Ronaldo, and this isn't really a Ronaldo chat. It's more about the whole thing where Roy Keane's talking about guaranteed goals and things like that, and then Michael Richards pipes in with the whole pressing thing, and Roy Keane goes, "I'm one." He's talking about pressing. It's the buzzword, and it's true. That happens a lot in football, though. You see things all the time in football where a narrative gets written and then literally 100 people copy it, and unless they've copied it, they don't feel like they've said the right thing. Just like with Nick Pope and his distribution. Whenever you mention Nick Pope's a brilliant goalkeeper, oh yeah, but his distribution's poor. People always need to put that in there. It's crazy. But for me, I would love to see the old number 9's back. The ones where They don't have to worry about running the channels. They can just do what they do best, which is score goals. Now, the lack of touches thing that keeps on getting leveled at Erling Haaland, it's not really counting for much now because people are going, well, yeah, lack of touches, but he's got like 14, 15, 17 goals, whatever it is. It's crazy. But that's the thing that we used to have before with players like Viduka. Remember Viduka? I mean, just imagine in 2022 right now if Viduka was playing and he played like the way he did, but he's scoring goals. Ah, yeah, Viduka, he's a lazy so and so, but he scored what 18 goals. People actually take goal scoring as if it's the easiest thing to do when it's the hardest things. It's the hardest thing to do. I just don't. All the pressing stuff for me, it's become so easy to be a striker now, and you just imagine like kids growing up now because the strikers now get more praise for running about and causing a nuisance and everything else like that rather than scoring goals. It's easy to be a striker these days. For me, your number 9 should be your highest paid player because they do the hardest job on the pitch. But that isn't always the case now in football today. Yeah, I mean, listen, Hasselbank getting back. I mean, Hasselbank, exactly. A killer like that. Remember, Hasselbank was lethal. He was absolutely lethal, but I don't think he would get in many teams now because he doesn't run around like a headless chicken. Igor here, Ronaldo said it. Do you want me to run or do you want me to score? Exactly. It was always for me, you had your players behind the striker doing the work. They do the work, they get the ball to him, and he does what he does best. That's how it should have been. That's how it should be for me. Your striker should be a striker. They should be paid accordingly and get the goals in. All he does is score. When I heard that about Ronaldo's 20 plus goals, I was like, well, I mean, what can you do? If all he does is score, I mean, it's an insane comment for me. But you get people like strikers that don't do anything. People revert Shane Long because he runs the channels, cause a nuisance. Shane Long stole it's strikers like him that gave number 9s a bad name. Honestly, it's guys like Shane Long that just run around all that, and you say, "Oh, when was the last time he scored a goal?" Oh, damn, 11 months ago. It's insane to me. I know a lot of Leeds fans love the pressing things and everything else like that. And everyone enjoys football a different way. But I'm just wondering now with Haaland, with players like that, with the Lewandowski in another way as well, that maybe we might see the youth teams and everyone else start to train their number 9s up again. Say, listen, I don't want you running about. Work on your finishing. Just finish. Because I don't feel like that's going on too much today. I really don't. So it's going to be interesting for me to see what happens there. Listen, and the only time now the lack of touches thing will hit Haaland is if he doesn't score in 2 games, then they'll say, yeah, I mean, he didn't score and he only had 8 touches. But it's the same with Trent at the moment. Trent Alexander-Arnold's getting hammered everywhere when he's defended like this his whole life. But now the assists and the goals have kind of dried up. He's getting really, really hammered now, isn't he? So it's got to work. But give me your thoughts right now in the chat. Metro goal hangers. And I don't mean like just they're gonna smoke a cigarette. When's the ball coming to me? I don't mean those. I mean they move around the defenders, but they're not having to come back into the center circle and run the channels and all that kind of stuff. They do what they do best, and that's put the ball in the back of there. That's the best part of football for me, the goal scorers. You know what I mean? Leeds is saying, honestly, I would have a clinical 9 rather than a workhorse for the team. Absolutely. But if there's people that don't agree, please put it in the comments as well. Yeah, Dow, if pressing was the most important attribute for a striker, Dan James will be starting up top for Real Madrid. Yeah, it's insane. Oh, man. Igor saying it's hard because the striker is instrumental in stopping the other team's build-up play, but it's hard scoring when you're running 13k every 90 minutes. Got to find a balance. Exactly, it is because you've seen it as well, haven't you? I mean, even yesterday, we're pressing hard. We're trying to get the ball back, and then when we got the ball back, there's no one in the box to finish it off, and that's my issue with strikers today. There's just not enough people that are just hungry to score goals like Haaland. And yet again, I just want to make it clear: I know Haaland is an outlier. He's an absolute alien is different. But I do believe you can get more number 9s in that vein rather than this one now that just runs around and looks busy. But then when you look at their goal return at the end of the season, it says 6. And you go, well, what good is that going to do? What are we going to do with that? Burry saying, thing is, unless you're Man City and can afford your striker to only have a few touches a game and bang the goals in, most teams need their striker to do more than just be a focal point. But they never used to have to, Burry, though. When that probably changed as well with whole Pep Guardiola coming in and everything else like that. But listen, Pep has gone back on his own blueprint. Pep said, you know what, I was running that, but look what I'm running now. And Haaland isn't running around like a headless chicken. He is getting involved in the build-up play, but he's not doing all that ugly stuff. But yes, I know he's got world-class players around him, but I'm saying there are ways to do it. Listen, Leicester City won the league. They had a decent team, but Jamie Vardy, they were running with Jamie Vardy, who was getting the balls over the top. It is possible just to have that goal scorer. And I just miss it. I just miss it, man. I just miss it. Lewis, keep up the good work. Thank you so much. And please hit the likes if you're here. And on the replay after, of course. M. Gao is saying Haaland's heat map shows he's ever only, you know what? Let me start again. Haaland's heat map shows he only ever really moves with the width of the goal. That's it. Thank you. Got it out. But yeah, exactly. Heat maps, I don't care about heat maps. Long-term subscribers of this channel will know I can't stand heat maps. They mask so many things. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. If I speak, I'll be in big trouble. But yeah. Oh, someone just mentioned Seshko is the next one up. Oh my Lord. Listen, we was raiding Salzburg, man. I wish we had got him, but he's moving on to the next Red Bull stuff, isn't he? He's going to Leipzig next summer. Oh, what a player. What a player. He is next. He's definitely next. It's a shame we couldn't raid him for that. I would have loved to have got Seshko. Keep up the great work, loving the content. Thank you so much, man. Vic Vinegar in opposition is saying the game has changed a lot though now. Most teams run with a one striker system to have an extra midfielder. Even centre halves at the bottom end of the league can play the ball out of defense. Yeah, I know all of that. Yeah, I mean, people want their goalkeeper now to be like Manuel Neuer when there's only one Manuel Neuer. Facts. Or Edison, but you see Edison. I mean, yeah. But listen, yeah, I know fullbacks need to now be wingers. Centre backs need to move the ball out into midfield. Otherwise, they're not. Their class is not good defenders. I get all of that. I just feel now with Haaland, it's always the way. When something is super successful, people look for the copycat. Same in hockey. If speed is winning the Stanley Cup one year, everyone wants to get fast. If heavy and a big bulky team is what gets it done, everyone tries to get heavier. It's the same way. Sport is like that. So Jacob, KGS Vietnam flashbacks about Foreshore every time someone mentioned heat maps. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Oh Lord. But yeah, so that's just my thoughts on that. And I am interested to hear people's thoughts, because maybe there's people that grew up in a time where you had number 9s just killing it everywhere. Whether it was Inzaghi, he was the epitome of a goal hanger. As Sir Alex Ferguson once said, he was born offside. That was Inzaghi. But Vieri, Crespo, Ronaldo was a different beast. The real Ronaldo. So many killers that were just all over the place. But even in lower, I mean, Dion Dublin. I know I've just gone way off the thing there, but Dion Dublin used to score goals in poor teams. That's what I mean. That everyone had that striker that didn't have to do all the running around. It's going to be interesting anyway. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I'm just going to be interested looking going forward and see how many teams try and replicate what Man City are trying to do now. Batistuta, Tom. Batistuta was so good, Tom, that at, 32 years old, Roma paid 22 million for him and they won the league that year. He was insane. He was insane. I love Gabriel Batistuta. Oh my lord, what a player! What a player. Dow, didn't know you like hockey, Cage. I love hockey. Dow, it's my second sport. Easy second. Sometimes even first, depending on how Leeds are doing. But yeah, I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, Dow. Let me know your team. Leeds saying all world-class strikers are natural number 9 who just played up front and not track back. Yeah, but the thing, yeah, it's true. And Leeds, as is saying there are some players that could do both. I don't like to mention his name here because we shouldn't be mentioning pagans on this channel for their crimes in life. But Luis Suarez was that kind. Sergio Aguero had to get into that mold once Pep got there. He had to move a little bit more, but he was effective with it, still scoring goals. You've got players like that where they could do the dirty work. They got that dog in them, but they still score goals. But not everyone can do that. Not everyone is naturally gifted at that. Colin Tennant, Gary Lineker, I mean, that's a goal hanger right there. Alan Shearer, pure goal poachers, absolute class from the 90s. Yeah, Alan Shearer, I mean, his goal record is amazing. It's amazing, but I hope Harry Kane does do it. I hope Harry Kane does do it. Oh, Dow, I might have to put you in timeout for this. I might have to put Dow, what are you doing? I might have to put you in timeout for this one. Philadelphia Flyers lifelong fan hates Sidney Crosby with a pat. Let me just time out Dow right here. Let me see. Dow, listen, you know what? That's on you. You're going to have to hold that. Okay. Philadelphia Flyers in our lifetimes, Dow. I don't care if you're 5 years old. You were never seeing the Flyers win a cup. You're absolutely awful. And you're going to be awful again this year as well. Good luck with Tortorella. Good luck. Andy Cole, when he was at Newcastle, he was class. Yeah, Andy Cole. I mean, again, you're talking about a striker there. He scored, what was it, 180 plus goals. He scored 180 plus goals. And not one of them was penalties. That's how good he was. Very, very underrated. Got to say, Andy Cole, very, very underrated. Probably disrespected in that manner, in the fact that he didn't take penalties. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Yeah, Ted, misconduct, man. Game misconduct. He's gone. He's gone. But yeah, I just wanted to get my thoughts out on that. I'm absolutely loving seeing what Erling Haaland's doing. Obviously, I'm not going to love it on Boxing Day. It's going to be very painful, but maybe we could shut him down. Maybe we could shut him down. Maybe. But I'll see ya. Cameron Jerome. I mean, who can forget that legend? I mean, we were linked with Cameron Jerome for about 10 years, so you know what it means. But listen, people, that's the end of the video today, and I hope there's been quite a few points for you there to think about and give you thoughts. Whether you've given them in the live chat now, and thank you all for joining me, give me them in the comments as well afterwards. Very interested to hear them. And smash a like, and I'll be back at some point this week for the Palace preview, because we got to think about that game and trying to get a win, because just before I exit, the fixtures that we've got, people, in October, for the rest of October, are there's some winnable games here. So we got Palace. I would say you could go for 3 points there. Then we've got Arsenal. Going to be difficult, yeah. Then we've got Leicester. We have to take advantage of Leicester and Danny Ward in goal. We have to, but we'll talk about that later to the time. Then we've got Fulham at home. And then we end the month with Liverpool away, which will be tricky, but we've seen Liverpool aren't the Liverpool that they were last season. So there's games here where we can get 3 points. And that's why I just want to know what people do differently in order to make us just play a bit better, to move a bit better, and everything else like that. What can Jesse do? Let me know in the comments. Just all right, Martin. Just go back to the start and watch it again. But listen, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you probably for the match preview, unless there's anything else on my mind. Take care, people.